Right, I did a time trial with WKD, so I thought I'd try one of the mini crits round Paris this evening. By the looks of it. There you go. I'm there out in the garage with towel around my neck for the sweat that's yet to come, and off we go. And look at the guy in the pink socks. That's me, rushing into an early lead. Probably no doubt cooking it to start off with. Here they come. Here's everybody else coming past me. There'll be a theme as the race goes on. These starts at my age are a nightmare to try and hold these. But if you don't put this effort in at the beginning, I found you end up sat on your own at the back, and there's no, once the group goes away, there's absolutely no chance you're going to bring it back. So here I am leading down the Champs-Elysees. I like to say that's a normal thing, but it's not. I'm still in the leading. So it was only, it's a really short race. This one is basically one something down the Champs-Elysees. Here they come. So once these guys have caught me, I'm going to also try and hang on there for grim death. The big tricky bit is this. I mean, the climb up to, I say climb, it's about 2% probably, up to the Arc de Triomphe. So you can see I've got a nice little weave going on there in the bottom right hand corner. I'm not quite sure whether that helps or not. I don't see sort of Brad Wiggins or the similar do that, but maybe it's going to catch on. So onto the main drag in a minute. We're going anti-clockwise round, which is actually the way the pros do it. I'm a long way off there. Right, so, and I think this is into the that's right. We're going down. We're going to drop down now in a bit into the underpass. But I'm still hanging on in there at the moment. Me FTP I think is about 186. So as you can see from my heart rate, the chances of holding this friendly at the time is not really going to happen, to be fair. But we'll keep going for a while. As I say, the big problem is when we get the climb up to the Arc de Triomphe. I'm probably going to stick with him there. I don't know any of these other riders. I think I've raced against S. Baker before. That's what I've seen his back before. He just go away from me. There's also a J. Anderson, which I don't know whether it's the England bowler. Could possibly be. And the guy I end up racing against, it'll become clear in a minute. I can't remember his name. It'll come back to me. But we get caught. There's a bit of a split. I think this is always a problem with mine, whether it's just the watt bike or whether it's just normal. The amount of times I drift out the peloton, or whatever you want to call it, the draft is unbelievable. Anyway, it's not too bad here because we're just about to go downhill through down the underpass. Now, I don't know, I'm still learning how to race in this, so I've generally put a bit of effort in here because it lets me coast up the other side. I don't know if that's the right or the wrong thing to do. I'm sure people will tell me one way or the other. But as you can see, as I put that bit of effort in, I've pushed right to the front here, which means I'm going to be okay. But when we turn this corner, it goes up about 1%. So probably pretty much, you can see my heart rate. I mean, I can get to about 178, so I'm not completely on the limit, but still having to work quite hard. And when it's going uphill here, I don't know, for some reason on the right side, the power watts per kilogram isn't showing. And I am weaving away in the garage on the bottom right, so I don't know what the heck that's all about. I don't know what I do that when I'm outside. But you can see I've dropped back here, so I'm hanging on for grim death a little bit. It's stringing out a little bit. The guys at the front, they were putting way over 3 watts a kilogram at this stage, which is not really something I can do at the moment. Bit of a gap. I'm stuck on somebody's wheel there. He's saying close the gap. Never understand that. Anyway, so there's a bit of a gap here, but I have to put a bit of an effort in to get across. Alright, going up a bit more. And I've just about managed to get back on. So this is in a lap's time. You'll be glad to hear there's another lap of this. This is where this will be the run into the finish. We've got another 7.3 kilometres for you to listen to this dirge. I'm sure you'll be happy with. So this is where those that remember Cavendish a few years ago did his sprint where he looked like he was on a motorbike basically. We won't be seeing any of that tonight. So, well, that's the guy I ended up racing against, McGuigan, Barry's lad. He was the guy that I basically ended up racing against at the end. That's the good thing about these races, that eventually you'll find somebody who's a similar ability and strength to you, so you always get a race one way or the other. But for now, I've got pretensions of taking this on the final lap, thinking I'll just hang on there. Heart rate's still okay-ish, but it creeps up in you a little bit, and where I come unstuck is that the guys in front of me, they can put a hell of a lot of power in, compared to my little spindly legs. One thing I've had to do is I've had to really put down the resolution on the screen, so it's a bit, because if I run it at anything higher than the lowest resolution, it's jerky as anything, so which isn't ideal. So they are my customary back position. There are a few people behind me at this stage. Well, I think they stay behind me for the rest of the race. To be fair, this is the top few in the race. Although it's very difficult to tell from the results at the end. It seems to be more D categories than you can shake a stick at, even though there's only a few of them racing here. I'm not quite sure how this works actually, because a load of people come past us, which I'm assuming are either the A or the B categories that have been set off earlier. So here we are, there's Barry hanging on to my back wheel. Got somebody from the States there, and a few GBs at 7 o'clock this evening, this or thereabouts. So, right, now this is where, as I say, this is where the hill starts to really kick in. I can't see because the way I've set it up, I don't think it cuts the right side of the screen off, which is a bit naff. So we can't actually see how steep it is. But I think it's between 2 and 3, and this, as you can see, they're starting to go away a little bit here. The Lutesi sprint, that's a laugh. I won't be doing any sprinting. I'll just be hanging on. So I'm at the back here, close the gap again, even though I'm just on somebody's wheel, and you can see this. They're starting to get a little bit smaller, those people ahead of me. I've obviously picked the wrong wheel here. Steve's lad, Joe Davis, he's just sort of, I think he gets away though, I can't remember, I think there might actually be 3 of those there, a little sprint from him. Now, as you can see, I'm definitely struggling here. 165 beats a minute, and I think in a minute's time, even though the weave's in full flow, I think you'll see my sort of power drop significantly at the top left hand corner in a minute. Yeah, still at just over 200 watts a minute. That's just half of what Bradley Wiggins did in the 2012. Oh, there you are, down to 57, completely and utterly blown. Oh, hang on, back up to 170. So I took the decision here to think, well, just ride within yourself, he says, and see how you get on. When it gets to that green banner at the top, it pretty much levels out. Here's the sprint starting. It won't be making any difference to me. I find it easier. I used to do a lot of time trialling, and I find it easier to ride on the tri-bars on my watt bike. I'm in the garage there. That's not my house. I don't have tins of paint around the house. That's in the garage. Oh, Barry's caught up with us. He's gone straight past us. I thought, I'm not having that. Nothing I can do about it, but I still thought, I'm not having that. And then through the sprint there, in about what time have I got here? There we are, 29.78, only 9 seconds down on the top sprint speed, so that's quite a good effort. 7th out of 8th, normal territory. So here we go, Pink Socks coming to the fore past Barry, and General Patton in the sprint there did quite well, so that's a good effort. So 29.78, you could take off the screen if you don't mind, it'd be probably not worth really people being interested in that. And here Barry goes again, and I think what he's done, he's picked up on these lot. Now these have nothing to do with me in the race, which is always a bit frustrating when they come past like that. Barry tried to hook on to the wheel, but struggled. He didn't quite get there. I think we dropped somebody here as well. I think Jay Davis got dropped here. I thought he was in this group, so for a while I was worried. But I think at this stage I'm between 5th and 6th. So then me and Barry took our up, and this is where we decide. We looked each other in the eye across by the Arc de Triomphe there, and decided this is it. Now, for some reason here, even though it's totally flat going around the corner, if I remember rightly, here he goes. He's pressed his feather. Not quite sure. I thought that was only useful when you were going up a hill. But obviously it must make him a little bit lighter anyway, so I suppose it does make a bit of a difference even on the flat. So here he comes whizzing past me here into the downhill like this bit, because it's almost impossible to get dropped down here. Now he says that I'm just being dropped, so I have to work a little bit to get back up into those stratospheric wattage there, 200 watts, fantastic. And I've caught back up with Barry, and this is it pretty much now. Oh, having a swig there, it's SIS, that proper athlete, and a bit of weaving. I don't know what's happening there. My saddle ain't too high. I don't know, it looks ridiculous. I might not put the camera on next time. Now who's this here? I can't remember where is he motoring, whoever it was. I think we jump on the back of this guy. He's nothing to do with our part of the race, thank the Lord. But he's heading in the same direction, so why don't we get on his wheel? So here we go, Barry gets on his wheel, and I'm tucked in behind there, and I'm basically thinking now I'm going to stay on his wheel to the finish. There's only like 4 kilometres to go, and I think Barry's pretty fed up with me by now. So I'm using only the camera I used was only on the PC, so I've got some proper video stuff and whatever, and lights and God knows where else. But I think at the moment, unless you want to see a balding 50-odd-year-old fat guy, I'll keep it just as it is. Here we go anyway. So we were getting a bit of a free toe, me and Barry here, because this guy's nothing to do with the race that we're in. That's a squirrel on the right, not sure why. And there we go. We fleetingly looking like I was sitting on the front for a bit, but they soon tired of 1.5 watts per kilogram, and came bombing past again. At this stage I'm thinking, is Barry going to go on a long one, or is he going to hang on and try and beat me on the sprint? And you'll find out what happens in a bit. It doesn't take too long, this bit, because obviously we're fairly rattling down a slight descent here, particularly this F. Tugaz guy. Is that Portugal? I think it might be. We're taking a bit of a toe off him, which is very useful. I think again in a bit there's some people come past and it's like they're on motorbikes, but I think unless that's already, I don't think that's already happened. Here we go. I think is that the Plastical Concorde up ahead? Not quite sure, but it might be. Anyway, not concentrating again. He nearly got away. Get on his wheel again. So at this point, we've got 2.7 kilometres. I must admit, at the first part when I thought I'm videoing this, I thought I'm not going to finish this race. I was absolutely bloody knackered, but I'm a little bit better there. Dropped to 157 recovery mode. Although you know, is it normal for the back of your hand to sweat? Because that's what's happening in the picture at the moment. Anyway, past yet another squirrel. That's 2 squirrels. And sat on F. Tugaz again. Now I'm thinking we've got to get this right here into this descent and this climb. Is that way? And at this point I'm thinking, do I attack? Do I hold back? And I basically discretion was a better part of all. I thought I'm going to try and beat him in the sprint, and I'll somehow manage to try and get him to come past me. Oh, here these guys come. Look at the speed of these. Unbelievable. One of them's got a feather, but apart from that they're all motoring. And I can't remember what happens. I think our mate tries to do F. Tugaz. He tries to do one here. Yeah, off he goes. I thought, I'm not chasing him down. I can't do I chase him down, am I? If I did, it must have been a downhill, because there's no way I'd have caught him up normally anyway. Despite the amount of weaving I'm doing. That's not a cravat. That's a little mini towel that I'm wearing in the picture. What I'm looking at, to be honest with you, ridiculous. So F. Tugaz he's disappeared. Now where's Barry? At this stage, Barry must have dropped off a little bit. I'm sure it wasn't down to... Here he is, he's Barry. Oh, that's why he came flying past here, didn't he? I thought, oh, well, now I've got problems. And I think maybe he was trying to get across. So he got a 2 metre gap, but I wasn't having that. But look at that, 230 watts. Blimey. Unbelievable. Power vacuum with that. So here we go. I picked him up here. And I knew this is the descent, because there's always a balloon there. Montgolfier, whatever they're called, balloons always there in the Tour de France. So I knew that's where I was. Under there, past the Trotters van on the right hand side, and then so I'm trying desperately to get him to come through here. So I thought I'll just ease on this climb, which is a risk, because if he went away, I'd have had absolutely nothing left to do. Now, you'll notice I've still got my little feather there, which is in the top left-hand side. So I think I'm not going to deploy it on my little climb, but this little bit here is a little bit uphill, and I thought I'm going to use it to recover. You see, not daft me. So here I come, just going to pop it out there. So you can't see, but it's about 1% climb this. So I'm tootling along, just like 119 watts, just still keeping up. I love these little power-ups. Anyway, that's finished. Past the trotters van again. And all that, all these yellow vans that are plenty now. They seem to be everywhere. It must be very popular in France. Anyway, so I'm tootling. Not many people watching. In the Tour de France, there's a lot more people, but then again, they're quite good. Whereas well, you can see what's happening in the bottom right hand corner. They're not going to come and watch that. So I was desperately trying to think, with the 1 kilometre to go, I thought I don't want to come through because I've got one more effort left. And he put a little bit of an effort here, but this was a bit of a bluff by him. He put a bit of an effort in. So I raised my game a little bit, thinking he was maybe going on a real long one. And what happened was, it meant that I came through, which was not on things that I wanted to do today. So, but then for some reason, he put an extra effort in Barry again. Maybe he saw a squirrel on the bike across the left-hand side there. I don't know what that's all about. Anyway, so he's back in front of me. I thought, I'm not going to fall for that one again, Barry. So I'm tucked in. And this is where Cavendish and Wiggins did that Sky train, or whatever they used to call it. I'm not quite sure. This is more like the underground train coming through. But the great thing about this, you have no idea whether the guy you're racing against is 100 kilograms and he's an absolute brute in the sprint, or he's some kid that can't reach the handlebars. I don't know whether Barry's one of those or the other, but I thought I'll try and get myself into a good position here, and I'll go with about 250 metres to go. So he's putting out quite a lot of watts here, if I remember rightly, but I'm sort of nicely tucked in behind. But I had to up it a little bit. I didn't want him riding away because I'd never get back on. So you can just about see the finish there. Down to 0.3 of a kilometre, and down we go to 2. I'm waiting for the 250-ish to put the effort in. And there we go. The weeding's really, I've upped it, but the weeding I can stay. Unbelievable. Loading out to saddle. That wouldn't happen anywhere else. You can actually see motion blur on the screen there, but no sign of Barry. I thought he'd come back at any minute, but no. And then I'm just over the line, and you're going to see the result in a minute. Oh, I've backed in. Loading results. Not the best result in history. There we are, 41st out of, well, actually 41 it says, but it's actually 42. There we go. Hope you enjoyed that. I'll do some more of these again, I'm sure. Bye.